and I think I succeeded. Or it's telling me it's time to wrap it up. I just want to say I know I just want to say I know. Yeah, it's time to wrap it up. I succeeded. See you next week. Bye. Hey, welcome back to my channel. Today, I want to start filming books that I predict are going to be 4 to 5 stars. Now, you're probably like, why? Why 4 to 5 stars? And it's because I think my August reading month just really affected me in, I don't know if I would say a negative way or not, but if you guys saw my August wrap up, if not, go check it out. I did not have a good month at all. I had no 5 stars. The highest, my fries are done. Hold on. Ugh. I'll just take y'all. But the highest rated books I had, I think, were a 4.25, which is very weird for me because that's not anything, right? I normally have 5 stars, and I had no 5 stars. That's some bull, okay? I have really been focusing, I think, on the quality of books, and I normally do focus on the quality. I don't care about the quantity, you know, the amount of books that I read. But for some reason last month, I decided to give a lot of books that I knew would be 3 stars. And I hoped that they wouldn't be lower, but they did turn out to be lower. But I decided to give a lot of the books that I thought would be 3 stars a chance. I've only completed 2 books this month, and it's already September 11th. We'll see how many books I'm gonna fit in this video. I think I'm just gonna film, I don't know, maybe I'll try and film 5 books. Let's go back to where I was sitting, because that's where the books that I was gonna talk about are sitting. I don't know if all 3 books are gonna be in this video, because we'll just see how I'm feeling reading wise. I made a TikTok video because I couldn't decide between these 2 books, but I ended up adding a 3rd that I didn't know about. So the first was The Taking of Jake Livingston. I think this is like some kind of paranormal book. I don't know if it has a romance or not. If it does, I'm pretty sure it's a gay romance. It's an MM. If it does, I could be wrong, but I feel like I could be mixing this up with Cemetery Boys. I love that book. And then the other one was a romance. I know these are like 2 opposite, like what? When We End, where, see, that's, my library always put them stickers there, them barcodes. I can never read it. Where We End and Begin. I haven't really been into romance lately for some reason. All the books that I've been completing have been like, it may have romance in it, but that's not the genre that it's a part of. Except for right now, I am reading Sweet Vengeance. It's a monster romance. But that won't be in here, even though it will be over, like over a 4 star. Not a 5, but it'll be like a 4.25 or something. I don't know if I just said it, but I have 48 minutes left. I'm just not going to include it in this one because I'm practically done with it, and I'm just starting this video. And I kind of want to use books that are fresh. And then the other book that I didn't know about, I picked out of my book jar, and it was Monday Is Not Coming. Everyone picked this one. So this is the first book that I'm going to read in this particular vlog. Again, I may get to these 2, but we'll just see after I finish this. I may want to pick another book from my physical TBR, or because I've been reading thrillers and horrors, I may want to read a romance. I've already filmed this intro 3 times. 3rd time's the charm. Hey y'all. So I have a sports bra on, by the way. I suck now at filming updates for some reason. I don't even know when I started this video. Okay. So when I first what video idea is this anyway? I'm pretty sure this is the one where I'm trying to read books that I predict are going to be 4 and 5 stars, because I was having trouble reading in September, and now it's September 14th. And y'all, I'm still reading Monday Is Not Coming. Oh, we matching. Take a picture. Put that as your screensaver. Give a little update before I finish. So I am right here. I know I didn't use all that red. One of the things that I do, especially when I read a non-romance, is I'll go ahead and pick my tabs, but before I start tabbing, I'm gonna start reading the book. And what I'll do is I will just like make a little, I'll fold the page a little bit. I'll fold it like this. And especially with like a thriller or a horror or suspense, you know, who's to say I'm gonna be tapping that? But with Tiffany D. Jackson, I don't know what it is. I do like the romance that she kind of puts in her books. This is my third book of hers. The first one that I ever read don't really count. It was Grown. That was not a romance at all. I don't even think that there was another love interest like introduced for the main character. Like there was no romance, period. Like White Smoke that I just read and Monday's Not Coming. There is like a little love interest that's introduced for the main character. I'm not sure who the girl is. I don't know if that's Claudia or Monday. So Monday is the girl that's missing. Let me, I guess, just talk a little bit about the book so that when I do come back when I'm finished, like I'll just kind of give my rating. I don't know if it's going to be a 5. I think mainly because this is one of those books where I kind of went in this book thinking it was one thing and then I'm getting something completely different. Now what I'm getting is fine. I like it, but I guess I just feel like misled in a way. The majority of this book we're spending in the past. We don't even know that Monday was found or anything like her body. I think this book, there's like 3 different time periods going on. There's like the past where Monday was there and her and Claudia are hanging out and stuff, and we're seeing like their friendship, which is, you know, kind of cool. And then we get like after Monday disappeared and they don't know where she is, and we're just seeing, so the majority of the book is like that, and we're just seeing Claudia kind of live her life, but we also kind of see like her finding out some info about Monday that she didn't know and Monday's family life. This guy that was introduced as what I'm assuming is going to be a love interest. And then I feel like there are also parts of like future Claudia, because the very start of this book, so let me also state that this book doesn't have chapters. Instead, they have months. So this is not a spoiler, it's the beginning page. We have months as headers, and we have stuff like the before, the after, 2 years before the before. Let me tell you, that is so confusing to me. I don't know what they be talking about, but the only thing that I feel like I kind of grasped is that when we get to a little section where it's the month as the header, I think that's future, or that's like real present. Does that make sense? Like real time Claudia. Because when I go back to the very beginning of the book and it says September, she says, this is the story of how my best friend disappeared. So it's kind of like everything after that is technically the past. It's not like these other thrillers. For example, because I remember 5 Survive, right, by Holly Jackson, or White Smoke. We're in the present, like we're reading it as it's happening to the characters, like in real time. This one, technically what I'm reading already happened. Am I making sense? Enjoying it, but it's kind of like, I'm curious because we only have, well, I only have this much left. So it's like, and that's still a little over 100 pages, by the way. But it's like, did this really need to be 435 pages? I don't really think so. Let me go ahead and finish it, and I'll come back. By the way, today's Thursday. I would like to start a new book tomorrow. I have one in mind, and I cannot wait to read it. The only problem is I don't know if I want to fit it in this video. I feel like I do, because I don't really like doing videos where I do a reading vlog and it's one book. You know what I mean? I like reading vlogs where it's multiple books. But anyways, that's kind of a little update. Okay, so we have quite a bit to talk about. I don't know if I'm too close or not. I have finished Monday's Not Coming. It was a 5-star. So I don't remember what I said in the previous clip when I was talking about this, but I was leaning more towards like a 4 point something, so like a 4.25, a 4.5, maybe even a 4.75 rounded to a 5. But that would have been like, had something like really gone on, and something really did go on, and I got to about the 70% mark or like the 65% mark, and it just took off. And there was the biggest plot twist that happened. It just triggered tears, crying all over the place, sliding down the wall, all of that. Not really, but let me tell you, I did not expect what happened in here to happen. Now, was this a perfect 5-star? Did I just say I was giving it a 5, right? I'm giving it a 5. But was it a perfect 5-star? No. I'm still not a fan of the layout. So instead of chapters, the headers are the after, 1 year before the before, and then they have like the month. So September, October, November. It was just all too confusing because, again, those were just 3 different time periods, and it was so frustrating. But it ends up making sense, and that's what triggered like the tears. That's all I'm gonna say about that. 5 stars. Check the trigger warnings. The book itself doesn't have any like anywhere, which I noticed that a lot with traditionally published books. Some do have it. I forgot what book it is, but it actually is somewhere like by the copyright page. But of course this book doesn't have it. But if you check the story graph, there's a full list. So after I finished this, I think I mentioned this book in the intro. I did end up reading this. It's a romance. So we have Obinna, Obinna. I think that's his last name or something. And then we have Dunny, or Dooney. I've been saying Dunny. They're both Nigerian, I believe. So this book, I wasn't expecting to like love it as much as I did. I'm gonna give this like a 4.25. I was leaning more toward like a 4, which I knew going into it, it more than likely wasn't gonna be a 5. But when I started this, I actually got a little nervous because I ended up reading a 1-star review, like kind of when I first began it. And what the person said, I need to go back and read it, but I was kind of like, I feel like this person's gonna be right, and I feel like it's gonna affect my reading. I absolutely got a kick out of this. The 2 main tropes are second chance and kind of like a Romeo and Juliet type trope. They don't die at the end or anything because this is a romance. But forbidden. It's a forbidden romance. When they were high school sweethearts, they were about 17. Obi, she calls him Obi for short a couple of times, so I'm gonna call him Obi. Obi was poor when he was younger. And Dunny and her family were rich. They were like one of the it families in Nigeria. So the way that they meet, her dad, I don't know what he does, but he has some kind of scholarship. He's right there. Anyway, her dad has some kind of scholarship and he wins it. I don't know how he wins it, but he wins it. And so his schooling is paid for at this like private school or something where she attends, and they fall for each other. His mom doesn't approve. His dad's not in his life. That is a part of the storyline. I won't say much about it, but his mom doesn't approve. I think because she wants him to focus obviously on his school and what happens with the dad. Her mom doesn't approve because he's poor. So there's more to why she doesn't approve. This book has tons of triggers. I think the most like obvious one that like it's on page that you're seeing it happen, because this book does follow a then and now format. we have this toxic relationship between Dunny and her mom, right? Because Dunny's mom does not approve of this relationship. And I mean, it's on page, all kind of things are happening, or all kind of things happen. I actually really love the format. I loved that we had a then and now kind of thing, because when you read this book, it starts right then and there, like she's getting off the plane. So by the way, she's been living in America, and this book actually takes place 12 years later. So the now is 12 years later, so they're probably like 27 or something. This is chaotic, but stay with me. So she goes back, she flies back to Nigeria for a wedding. A friend is getting married. She ends up running into Obi, and they kind of rekindle. So that kind of happens really fast. And so that's kind of why at the time, you know, I was kind of thinking like it was going to be a 4. But overall, I ended up shooting up to a 4.25. They meet and they kind of rekindle this. And I mean, the mom is still going at it. Like, so I will say there is a bit of cheating in here. And I say a bit because there is a little spice, but it's not on page. It's kind of closed door. There's one scene that's kind of fade to black. We're actually catching it at the end. She is engaged to a guy named Christopher back in Seattle. That's where she lives in the United States. He's not with anyone, but we find out that he's a hoe. After they broke up, I mean, he was just hitting everybody. If that's something that you can't work with, I wouldn't read it. But again, I really enjoyed it. I do have a couple of plot twists in here that caught me off guard. I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention or not, but yeah, I really enjoyed this. My 2 physical book options are The Taking of Jake Livingston. I think I spoke about this in the intro. I could be ready for this. It's short and it's a library book, so I need to read it. I always feel so guilty when I pick up my books from the library and then I don't read them and I end up returning them. I can always keep it for longer, but I just hate doing that. And then my other option is another book that I picked from my physical book jar, which is Wicked Beauty. Katie Robert is kind of a hit or miss author for me. I feel like this series that this is in, the Dark Olympus series, I feel like it's gonna get better. Like the books are gonna continually get better. I don't know if that made sense. But book 1 in this series, Neon Gods, I didn't really enjoy. I ended up giving it like a 4, but I didn't really like it. Electric Idol though was my book. That's my favorite Katie Robert book, between that one and Desperate Measures. But she's like a hit or miss for me. I think it's because she's one of those authors that write books with heavy spice, but she tries to put a little plot in there. And plot meaning something other than spice, right? So like if you took out some of the spicy scenes, you would still have a little bit of the book left. But my thing is where she puts the climax or the conflict in her books. She puts it practically at the 90% mark, and then it ends up wrapping up so quickly. That's what happened in Neon Gods. It was put like 85 to 90% mark, and I hate that in books. This is an option. I feel like I'm actually leaning more towards this one because I kind of just read a romance, and I'm leaning more towards this one. But I could also read one of my ebooks. I have not been reading my Kindle lately. I actually am in a book right now. If you guys remember, I mentioned at the beginning of this book, that's my foot, Sweet Vengeance. I'm actually reading another book by that same author, just for the cameras. So I may continue to read that. I'm just a little nervous because I don't think it's going to be a 4-star, and the whole point of this video is to read books that I predict are going to be a 4 or 5-star. The next day, and I just want to say that that I did decide to go ahead and start reading The Taking of Jake Livingston. I am not quite at the halfway mark. I think the halfway mark of this is page 122, and I am not even on page 100. I'm on page 85. I'm so scared because as I was reading it, I finally realized what the title might be referring to, the taking of Jake Livingston. So that's making me very nervous because this is involving a school shooter. So the ghost or the ghoul is what they've been saying. I don't know the difference. I know that there is a difference. I just don't know what it is. But this might have been a couple of years ago because I think this book came out in 2022. And if it did, no, it came out in 2021. So I'm wondering if the present in this book is also taking place in 2021, but the shooting happened in 2019 in the book, so 2 years before, I'm assuming, and it involved a school shooter. In the present, I don't know if this guy is the only survivor, so the guy who shot up the joint also killed himself. I don't know if he killed himself at the school or what, and I don't know if the guy that lived, Mateo, if he was the only survivor, but he ends up being killed in the present of this one. And so our main character, Jake, can see the dead. And it's honestly, it's so exhausting. Like, I feel so tired for him because when he's at school, like, he's constantly seeing these deaths like on replay, but it's kind of like, what's with all these deaths at this particular school? But he sees it everywhere. His home, his neighborhood, the school, like I just stated. But there's also another guy that's going to be entering in this, Alistair. I don't know what he's gonna, like, why he's popping up in here, what that's got to do with the story, or if the guy is just being introduced to be his love interest. I have no clue. My arm is tired. Okay. But yeah, I just want to say that I did start this. I'm enjoying it. I think overall, like, I've just really been enjoying reading this September. I know I haven't been reading a lot, but the books that I've been reading, I mean, they've all been 4s or higher. And I think what I've been doing as well is when I do kind of start a book, which I haven't done this in a hot minute, but I'm DNFing. But I did put some books on hold at the library. I'm hoping that I can finish this today because I'm sad to say, let me go grab my library books. The Taking of Jake Livingston is so far the second library book that I've read. So I ended up getting, I'm going in circles. Okay, so I ended up getting My Mechanical Romance. This one, I stopped on page 59. I'm not enjoying it. It's a YA romance, and I actually really love YA romances. Well, I'm lying. I haven't always loved it. It's kind of like a hit or miss for me, but normally it is a hit though. I don't know why I just said that. It normally is a hit, but this book really, like, it actually feels like YA, and it's making me feel old. So it's like I feel like I just want to DNF now, because it's like if I finish the book and give it a rating, it may not be as high as I want, and I feel like that's a personal problem, because I knew going into the book that it is YA. So for me to take points off because it felt YA is just dumb. Another book that I got was Friday, I'm in Love. This one I stopped on page 87. It's sapphic. It's kind of going, I feel like if I were to continue this book, I'm kind of feeling the same sentiments as I had for Girls Like Girls by Haley Kiyoko. And if you've seen my August wrap up, it was a 1.5. Like, I should have DNF'd. The other book that I read was Where We End and Begin, which was in this video, or which is in this video. I'm currently reading Jake. And then the two that I'm upset that I haven't read is The Do's and Donuts of Love. This one I think is also sapphic, and I've actually read this author before. I own her book, one of them. So it's like I really want to read this. And then I also have a mystery, which is A Disappearance in Fiji. I think what I might do is return those, like once I finish Jake, and return those 4, but keep these 2. Because I feel like I'm one of those readers that when I return my books to the library, that's it. Like if I haven't finished it, that's it. I'm not reading it. I'm not gonna not order, but like pick it up again, put it on hold again. I'm not gonna do that. So I think because these books are due on the 22nd, so I'm just gonna redo it for these two. That's my rant for today. Hey y'all. Great news. This video is ending today. Well, I don't know how to adjust this. Okay, so today's the next day from that last clip. Today's Tuesday, September 19th. I did finish The Taking of Jake Livingston. So I started this yesterday, I believe. Or no, did I start it 2 days ago? I don't know. I'm gonna give it a 4-star. Let's talk about it. So I think I've already spoken about the book itself, it being a school shooter who's a ghost and everything that's going on. Ended up reading the 1-star reviews after I finished it because I was just curious. And they kind of all said the same thing that I was thinking as well. I just didn't give it a 1-star. The pacing in here is very fast. Now, mind you, it's a short book. It's 244 pages. I'm expecting it to be very fast. But I mean, it was very fast. I think it could have been a little longer. I'm saying it could have been like 280. Or slow it down. Slow it down a little bit. Now, I will say the biggest thing that affected my reading was the descriptions and the details. I feel like I didn't really get as much out of it as someone who may have given it like a 5-star. So because this is paranormal and it involves ghosts and ghouls and whatever, because he's a medium, so some of these descriptions as to what was happening, it wasn't translating to me. I was having the hardest time picturing it in my head. For example, I don't know what it's called. They say it in here. Astroplaning, aeroplaning, but the thing where he comes out of his body, like his soul, and he can see his real life body just there. I wasn't understanding what was going on. So I feel like I really missed out on the detail, especially at the end, because there's this huge scene that goes down. And it just wasn't working up here, you know? The journey itself, the reading itself was very fast. It was good. I need these for other videos. Let's do a quick recap as to what was read in this video. So I just want to reiterate that this video was to read my 4 and 5-star predictions, right? So I started out with Monday's Not Coming. This was a 5-star. At first, as I was reading it, if you guys remember, I was thinking maybe it was going to be a 4, like somewhere around a 4, but not lower than a 4. But it ended up being a 5. Then I went ahead and read my 2 library books. So I had Where We End and Begin. If this were to have been anything lower than a 4, it would have been like a 3.75, rounded to a 4. So technically it would have still fit in here, but I ended up giving it a 4.25 again because it picks up at the end. And then I read The Taking of Jake Livingston. I was predicting that this was going to be a 5-star. So this is the only one where I predicted it very high. It ended up coming out lower, and I'm going to end up giving this a 4-star. These are the 3 books that I read in this reading vlog. I'm happy with everything. And now, I mean, that's more books that I've read this month. And I think I succeeded. It's telling me it's time to wrap it up. I just want to say I just want to say I know. Yeah, it's time to wrap it up. I succeeded. See you next week. Bye. Okay, should I do my thumbnail right here since I need one? Should I do it like this? I don't know if I'm gonna like this. I'm probably gonna redo it, but we'll see what I get out of it. I don't even know. I think I do want to do it blank and then just add pictures to it. Do I want it in my hand? Oh, or I can put it in here. That looks stupid.